Welcome back. Be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a video.
What is going on, family? Hope each and every one of y'all are doing well. I came across this video here, watched a glimpse of it, and then decided, you know what, let's just go ahead and watch it together here. Now, my thoughts on Charlamagne, I don't know how you guys feel about him. At first, I didn't really care for him, to be honest with you. I thought he's really arrogant and just always picking on everyone. But, you know, another thing that bothers me about him is that he obviously bleaches his skin, but he talks about like other people and their appearance and stuff. But that's a whole nother subject. But overall, he's grown on me a bit. He can have his funny moments. But as far as the election and everything, I find it completely funny that throughout the entire election, obviously the Breakfast Club is like funded, or they take money from the Democratic Party, because all you heard was just Republican bashing, Trump bashing, and they try to mix it up and make it seem like they're more independent by having Republicans on their show, but they never, it's always trying to embarrass them, if that makes sense. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with their show or whatnot, but I've seen this, and yeah, I wanted to take a look at it here because the View, they're definitely on a spiral downhill because of all their lies and propaganda that they just spew out. And yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into this video here. But I hope every one of y'all are cool, doing well. Definitely subscribe to the channel, join the family. You know, things are going to be growing as our audience grows, but definitely join the family, join the discussion, comment your thoughts below. I definitely read all the comments, and you know, every once in a while I like to ask my audience questions or whatnot, but I appreciate you guys. So let's go ahead and get into it here.
Charlamagne the God has been a vocal force in the media throughout the 2024 presidential race, and he's joining us now at the table. Please welcome back the author of the book, Get Honest or Die Lying, Charlamagne the God.
Hello, ladies.
Hello. Nice to have you back.
Thank you for having me back.
Okay, so my question is, after the election, you said that you were disappointed but optimistic. How are you feeling right now?
I feel the same way because, I mean, what's the other option?
Right.
You know, I'm a country boy from Moncks Corner, South Carolina, raised on a dirt road. So, you know, my mother was a Jehovah's Witness. My grandmother was a Baptist. So I still believe in this higher power called God.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't believe in God when, you know, things go your way and not believe in God.
That's funny. He believes in this higher power called God, but he has God supposedly in his name or whatever. But I question what God he's speaking of, but we shall continue.
When things don't go your way. So at a time like this, you just got to remember your serenity prayer, which is, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because we can't change nothing.
I love that. Yeah. Especially the wisdom to know the difference, right?
You know, we can't change anything.
Can't.
I mean, you know,
not yet.
Well,
I can't stand people who flip-flop. Like, the reason why is because, don't get it twisted, I'm all for people growing and, you know, seeing other people's point of view, perspectives. I think it's important in life. But when you flip-flop and it's for obvious gain, personal gain, that's when it bothers me, because I think that's what Charlamagne is all about. When he's on the Breakfast Club, he is so for Democrats, and I'm not saying like he doesn't like sound objective every once in a while, but we all know, all three of them that signed up for that show, anyone who, even the other one, the old female host, Angela Yee, I was considering doing a video on her too. I may do that video still because it's a relationship thing. But anyways, yeah, you know what that show is backed by, but I just can't stand somebody who flip-flops like him just to stay relevant. Stephen A does that too. He's starting to be more Republican, coming more towards the center.
How
4 years from now, I guess.
or two.
You never know.
But let me ask you this: like, Trump's campaign ads for some, they're saying they were very effective. And in one in particular ad, he used a clip of you from the Breakfast Club saying, quote, Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners. You say that line was taken out of context. I know it was, but it went on to become one of his most effective campaign ads. I'm also featured in one of his campaign ads.
You might have been 1 and 2.
Yeah, I was. He texted me and
Yours was
let me know that.
Context.
No.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But
Wow.
what were you actually saying in the clip? And can you please explain that? And how does it make you feel that the campaign used you like that?
Well, it's never good to be taken out of context, but I was explaining to my listeners how effective I thought the actual ad was. Like, that the ad was effective before I was in it. I was just sitting at home watching football and I saw it and I was like, whoa. And so I knew the immediate reaction was going to be, people are going to say, hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that. So I was explaining that to my listeners. So, it never feels good to be taken out of context, but what I didn't like the most was that they didn't do anything to combat it. Right. I would have ran the same ad and just said, Donald Trump, what is it? Donald Trump supports, what is it? What was it?
He was the one that was supporting tax.
Yes, Donald Trump supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners. I would have ran the same ad because it was legislation under him as well. And you know what else I would have did if I was our campaign? Since Donald Trump used me, I would have used Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan said Donald Trump was a threat to democracy. Joe Rogan said he thought Donald Trump was, I think, unhinged was the quote.
Right.
You got to mix it up. You got to get dirty with these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to muddy the waters a little bit, cause confusion.
Yeah. Let me ask you something that's going around right now. A lot of this conversation about President Biden getting criticized from both sides of the aisle for pardoning his son Hunter after repeatedly saying he would never do it. And a lot of people are saying that it's hypocritical, etc., as if the other side doesn't do it.
There's no.
But what's your reaction to it?
I think all of the criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time. And, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now. But since they were calling Trump a threat to democracy and they were saying that, nobody's above the law, but they were speaking about him, that's what they were running on. So when he kept saying things like, nobody's above the law, I respect, the jury's decision in regards to my son, he didn't believe that. But he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
I'm going to stop you.
He came right back and bit him in the ass, to be honest with you. That's why you got to always be genuine and not try to be tricky. And they got exposed, the Democratic Party, not even in just this particular matter with the pardon and Biden saying that he wouldn't, but it's just the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, because there's so much, like I've said in many videos, so much has happened this election where they completely got caught with their pants down.
You for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You
his
really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a
No,
sudden?
I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over. And this is just my feeling, because at some point you get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that
You're
go out.
mis-
They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground.
Listen,
they don't have to do that.
I'm a Democrat. Tell me what the moral high ground is.
The moral high ground is nobody's above the law. I respect what the jurors are saying. He didn't.
All right, guys, I got to stop it for a second just to make sure it doesn't get flagged. But, the reason why I'm an independent voter is because as an American citizen, I just think it's important to be open to either party doing something for you, depending on what is going on in the times, what is needed for you personally, and other factors as well. I'm not going to just limit it just to 3, but there's other factors also. But you shouldn't go into politics just voting for one side. That's crazy to think that, if you really, really think about it. I get it. I'm well aware of the history as far as what the Democratic Party has done for Blacks and immigrants and so on. We kicked down the door to allow everyone to be able to come over and have rights and so on. So I completely understand, but we're far from the mid 1960s. Things have changed. The internet is available, information is available at everyone's fingertips now, and everyone can communicate with each other too. So we are not on the same level that we were in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and even in the 2000s. So much has changed since then. And you have to update your software, update your mindset. And if you don't update your mindset, you're going to get left behind. And that's what's happening right now. A lot of individuals are waking up and just really seeing what the Democratic Party is for. I mean, I can't give a blanket statement to everyone and say this is what they're doing to everyone, because people are in different stages of their life. And depending on who you are, what sex you are, what race you are, it all matters on how you're individually affected. But at the end of the day, to put your hopes and the dreams into one party, one team, and not even give them the perception of I have to work for my supporters, I have to work for my votes, I think you're really just doing yourself a disingenuous being an American, and doing what's best for you and your family, because this party can always throw you scraps and you'll take them. So that's the biggest takeaway I believe a lot of voters in general took away from this election. And I hope that continues to go, because we have to remember, we the people run the land here. We all decide collectively how things go. And a lot of things need to change that were put in place with the government from, years and years ago. So yeah, let's continue here.
So,
You don't have to do
we're
that.
mad at him because he changed his.
Oh, no. By the way, I'm not mad at him pardoning
But
Hunter
you sound
Biden.
like you're
No.
If I could get in on this, I
Yeah.
actually think it went further, and this is one thing we really disagree on. Joe Biden made a point of saying we stand by our institutions
Yes, I
and the
understand all that.
impartiality of the
Yes.
Department of Justice.
Yes.
Democrats ran on that. The same DOJ indicted Hunter Biden. How we shouldn't be saying it's corrupt like Donald Trump does. But then in his statement pardoning Hunter Biden, he says that it was a political pursuit by his own Department of Justice.
Explain to me why it is that when Joe Biden does something, everybody clutches their pearls? He's wrong.
Nobody
He lied.
Whoopi is she has to update her mindset. And some people just are not going to be saved. Let's just be honest, because and she's heavily invested. If you think about the movies, all of the things that that supported her entire life and her career, that's why you shouldn't praise these celebrities also and these athletes, because these people signing agreements, no different from like a sorority or a frat. It's the same concept, guys. So she's tied into this. She will defend it to the day she dies, and which is sad, because she's willing to literally, as the building is falling apart and falling down, she's willing to stand in it and say, I'll go down with it, which is crazy. Get out of there.
Donald Trump more than me or Charlamagne.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, people have criticized him more. I've criticized him more. We've all criticized him more, but you're missing my question.
Okay.
My question is,
she's so emotional.
What is it that makes people flip out with Joe, but we don't have the same kind of thing?
Well, I don't think people are flipping out with Joe. I think Democrats are flipping out with Joe because Democrats believe that they don't represent what he's currently representing. But that's just not true. That's why I say they stand on this moral high ground that simply does not exist. And I think this is also the problem when we pick sides, right? We've turned political parties into teams. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Ain't nobody more delusional than me, right? Okay? I feel like we're going to the Super Bowl every year, but I'm not delusional. Well, no, that is delusional. But when it comes, but when it comes to political parties, if you pick a side, right? If you say you're a Democrat, if you say you're a Republican, you refuse to be objective about anything.
I'm an independent.
Yes, but
Yeah.
that's
And I
not,
think that's
but
the place to go.
that's not a monologue.
If you're on this show, you're not an independent. You're not. It's obvious that they push an agenda. So I don't know what her name is, but she ain't fooling nobody here.
We're not, Democrats are not a monolith.
Well, why can't you say when Democrats are wrong? And why
I
can't
would
Republicans say when Republicans are
I'll
wrong?
tell you when Democrats
So
are
you
wrong.
don't think Joe
I say
Biden
it
is
on the
wrong?
show.
No, I don't.
don't.
And can I
Well,
just
that's
point this out to you? The president has the part and power,
You're
right?
ridiculous.
The
I didn't say you were ridiculous, Ms. Goldberg.
Yeah,
I would
well,
never. I said that. I just think that.
Think about
Come
it.
over and give
Just
me a
think about
kiss.
it this way. Just very quickly, can you reframe it in this way and think about it maybe in this way? The president has the ultimate pardon power. Every president has done this, right?
Yeah.
And so people are saying is that Joe Biden is now a liar, as opposed to Joe Biden is someone who now knows that the person that is going to be in the White House is on a revenge tour and his son is on an enemies list. And so he is using his rightful power, his rightful political power, to pardon his son. Now, is that a
Clap. Somebody's holding up a sign. Jeez, it's amazing how they try to spin everything just to make it seem like Biden's a hero or whatnot. Trump is a racist, but you got pictures on the internet of Biden smiling and saluting with a KKK affiliate, but that's another video.
a lie, or is that perhaps being pragmatic, having a change of opinion, as opposed to the president-elect who has lied almost 40,000 times during his first term?
Well, I can't say what it is because
So
I'm not
who
in
has the moral high ground? Like, what's the faux outrage?
neither one of them have the moral high ground. That's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. But when you are a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican, you refuse to be objective about the other party.
Yeah.
Like it's like we're watching them do something wrong, but we're making excuses for it.
But we
watch Republicans do things wrong and they make excuses for it. Why can't we just all be
It's
objective
not
and call it what it
balanced.
is?
It's not
Because it's not
Because it's not the same.
Wait,
Let's be real, y'all. I know you guys be thinking that the government are out here catering to everyone but us, the everyday Americans that keep the country running. I know y'all see it. Prepaid.
All right. So my message to you guys, this is exactly why I say be an independent voter. You know, I'll admit I have conservative views and beliefs. That's just how I was raised. I was raised by, my parents, but also my core, I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and she was heavy on church and just believing in a certain natural order of things. So that's where my core comes from. So, but as far as voting, being an independent allows you, just like Charlamagne said, be objective. He was absolutely correct in this interview or in this segment of The View. You have to go into politics and make the government do what you want, make them work. Don't vote on identity politics, because no matter what, they're always, if we were going down the same road, let's say Kamala got, elected, I would not be surprised after because that would have potentially have been 8 to 12 years of Kamala. I hope you guys realize that. But nevertheless, I guarantee the next trick or the next strategy would have been is the first gay president and being elected, and we would have went down that road and stuff. And I have nothing against, having a gay president, but once again, you got to be qualified. You can't put a identity trait in front of the priority of, are they qualified to be president? And that's what I think the Democratic Party has done for so long. And right now, with that Joe Biden pardon, I think, as you see on The View, it's very hard for them just to grasp that things are falling apart. Everybody sees the circus that's going on behind the curtain. But nevertheless, what do you guys think about Charlamagne, and what do you think about this interview and what he said? I actually think this is like a solid interview that he did. I keep calling it an interview, but whatever, a segment that he did on the show. But in the past, yeah, he's come off very phony to me and just very acting like he's objective, but he's not really. And I think that's because he's still trying to get that Breakfast Club check. But y'all comment below, like the video, share the video, and definitely subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. A couple of videos going to pop up here. What was the last video I did? I was on Serena Williams. You're going to see that on the channel here coming up on the screen. Click on that, watch that, but I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.